On Fridays during the regular season and the postseason, we do a thing called the Show Me Something draft. Peter, since we have you here today and we're heading into a full weekend of week 2 preseason games, but for the one that was played last night, we're going to do a 3-man Show Me Something draft for week 2 of the 2023 preseason. Peter, I'll give you the first pick, then Myles, then me. Who do you want to show you something this weekend?
Well, there's probably only one team, one guy that really interests me this weekend. And look, everybody can say, well, these guys aren't playing. What are they going to be doing? Because the ones don't really play very much. I think there needs to be a pretty good comeback week for CJ Stroud. And so I'll be watching those highlights after Houston plays, because honestly, Mike, CJ Stroud was a little disappointing in their first game. And look, Bill Belichick even in the preseason can throw a lot of different looks at young quarterbacks. But I would say I'd like to see CJ Stroud, particularly. I think what is kind of interesting is that not necessarily that he's facing the Dolphins, but he's playing at home. And so you want to be able to show your new team what they've bought.
Well, I thought with that setup, you were going to this player that I'm going to pick, Peter, but it's Trey Lance. I mean, I think we got to see a little bit of something from Trey Lance this weekend. You can put everything aside with the Raiders. Yeah, you had 3 and outs to start that game. And then, yeah, they got a little something going. The touchdown should have been an interception, accidental touchdown, whatever you want to call it. But this is a guy that has been taking the heat. And Kyle Shanahan has said that he handles it well. But I think you just want to see Trey Lance show that he can pilot the offense in a way that's not going to make you say, man, this guy looks like a bust. And, that's kind of unfair to say, just given his experience and given all the things that have happened in his career. But I think this week could be a nice week for Trey Lance to go out there and show a little something.
I'm going to start with the first overall pick in the draft, Bryce Young. We saw him take a bunch of hits in the preseason opener. He's got to accelerate that processing capacity. It was such a selling point. The Panthers aren't concerned, so they say, about his slight size because he can get rid of the ball before he gets hit. He took some big hits last week. I want to see, can he accelerate? Can he get rid of the ball? Can he avoid taking the hits that he took? There's so much pressure on him. It's the Trey Lance dynamic. Everything given up to move all the way to number 1. He carries all that extra pressure. We need to see some return. We need to see something quickly, or he's going to be carrying that into the preseason. This idea that it's going to take maybe longer than the Panthers had expected for him to become the player that they need him to be.
I mean, I think that's a good pick to have, but my feeling kind of at this time of year, a lot of things can be really misleading. But the one other guy I wanted to highlight is, and you hear a lot about him when you talk to Rams people, and that's Stetson Bennett. I think a lot of people had their eyebrows raised when Stetson Bennett was, picked in the middle of the draft after so many people thought he was just going to be maybe a 7th round pick. It's very impressive so far in camp. As somebody who's been at a lot of Rams practices told me, he's afraid of nothing. And nothing really, I always think this, we were talking about Brock Purdy earlier. If you started 47 games in the Big 12 and Stetson Bennett, however many starts he had, 25, 30, 35, whatever it was, at Georgia in the SEC at the highest level of football in an incredibly competitive environment. That's going to serve you well in the NFL. It served him well in his first game against the Chargers. And I think this weekend, against the Raiders in LA, I think that's going to be a really good opportunity for him to show that Les Snead and the Rams, who all along targeted Stetson Bennett, that he was a smart pick.
It's interesting. I mean, he is certainly comfortable in that stadium now down there in Inglewood at SoFi Stadium after, going through what he did in that national championship game and then playing there last week. I'm going to go to Tampa Bay for my next pick in the show me something. And I want it to be either Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. Just one of you. Show me something. Make me excited about this quarterback competition in some way. I mean, it's just bleh. I don't really feel that good about either one of these guys being the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and, really making them a contender in that division or in the NFC. But maybe, you go out and you do something against the Jets this weekend and you get some good vibes off of that. But I don't know if what it is, for me in this particular quarterback competition, but it just doesn't feel like there's much juice there. So go out there, show something this weekend, and let's get a little juice into that quarterback competition.
There's a thought that they already know they're going with Baker Mayfield. Mike Evans said earlier this week, I'd just like to know who the starter is going to be. I don't know what the mystery is. I don't know why they're waiting. And I fully expect by Monday or Tuesday they'll announce it's going to be Baker Mayfield week 1 at Minnesota. The thing about show me something, we used to call drafts like this pressure cooker. I mean, it can be positive, it can be negative, it can be whatever. I literally want to see more Malik Cunningham. So show me something, Malik Cunningham. This guy that the Patriots have found that they were trying to make into a receiver. They gave him quarterback reps. He did well in the preseason opener against the Texans and now this weekend against the Packers. We're going to probably see a lot more of him at quarterback. And hey, what better way for Bill Belichick than to find his next guy? Undrafted. Oh, you're never going to find another guy, 6th round, 199. Well, no, I'll do one better. I'll find a guy who can play quarterback in my offense, undrafted. Now, long way to go for Malik Cunningham to climb the depth chart, but wouldn't it be something if they develop him into their future? They seem to be intrigued. I'm intrigued. I want to see more from him. I want to see what he can do. I want to know what his ceiling is, just as the Patriots do, because maybe he could be a guy that they could build around over the long haul, guys.
Mike, I'm going to give you one last one. It's a tad offbeat, okay? But show me something, Jonathan Taylor. I realize you're not playing football right now, and you're away from the team for rehab purposes. But this, I'm not saying that you got to solve it now. You don't necessarily have to solve it today. But at some point soon, the most important offensive player on this team for the 2023 season has to show up. He can't be pissy and moany. And at some point, the Indianapolis Colts GM Chris Ballard, they've got to find a way to get Jonathan Taylor peacefully back in the fold.
Yeah, they really do. And I mean, the thing about Jonathan Taylor right now, too, is just that you don't know really what the end game can be, because if they're unwilling to give him a contract, what else is he going to be able to do? So I don't necessarily see any real good solution other than him being there and just playing football. Right, Mike?
He's in checkmate. Myles, you got one more for me?
Sure, why not? Why don't we show me something Michael Mayer? That's maybe one that's a little bit offbeat too, but he's a Raiders tight end, rookie tight end. And I've been hearing good things about him from Las Vegas. Guy out of Notre Dame, 2nd round pick, has been dealing with a couple injury things, nicks, bruises, and things like that here and there. But he was back in the joint practices this week, and they need somebody to replace Darren Waller. So I want to see if he can step up, get a couple of catches, and show a little something this week against the Los Angeles Rams.
I was going to say the Bills' backup quarterbacks because there's a competition between Matt Barkley and Kyle Allen that really is going nowhere, to the point where if I'm the Bills, I got to start thinking about other options out there to back up Josh Allen this year. But that's kind of boring. I'm going to go with the field and specifically the grounds crew in Arizona. The Chiefs are coming back for the first time since they were on the slip and slide in February. And against the Broncos last week, that field did not look good. Now, it can look bad and still play well, but it's brown down the middle already because they practice on the damn thing. I mean, what do you expect? You practice on it all the time and you play on it. It's going to get worn out. But it looked like there were, chunks of grass everywhere. The Chiefs have to have bad memories of what happened in February, although it worked out in the end for them. But show me something, Arizona field and grounds crew, and getting that field ready, not just for this game, but for every game that's going to be played there this year by the Cardinals. All right, Peter, what's next for you on the training camp tour 2023?
Well, today's going to be an interesting day, Mike. I'm going to see the Saints and the Chargers. I'm going over to the Saints Hotel in a little while, going to do some stuff, meet with people before practice. Then after practice, line up the Chargers. Going to spend a little bit of time later in the day with Brandon Staley and Kellen Moore. And then Myles Simmons is going to join our rollicking band of merry people. And we are going to drive down to Petco Park to see the Padres tonight. So I know you would love to join us. I mean, I know it really bothers you to miss a major league ballpark like that, and to be able to sit in the man cave, have a cigar, and watch 16 football games tonight. But we're going to do something slightly different.
I wish I still liked baseball. I wish the Pirates had been something at some point in the last 30 years. They ruined me for the sport. And yeah, that kind of is what it is. All right, Peter. Well, thanks again for some of your time. Safe travels. Enjoy the baseball game tonight. And we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Sounds great, Mike. Thank you. Thanks, Myles.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.